Hello and welcome to this SEA-ABT Beverage for Us Skill Development webinar on design and development of innovative beverages. My name is Line Lindner. I'm from the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna in Austria. I will be moderating this webinar together with Chalida from the Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. And the presenter is Paola Pizzia from the University of Teramo in Italy. This webinar is organized by the SEA-ABT project in cooperation with the Seki Food Association. I will shortly just give you an introduction on how to use your control panel on this GoToWebinar. Then I will introduce you to the SEA-ABT project. Then I will hand over to Chalida, who will give you an introduction on the competition Beverage for Us. And finally, you will have the presentation by Paola Pizzia on new product development in beverages. So you will see on your right-hand side of your screen this control panel that looks similar to this one. In the bottom, you can post questions in the text field. It's better if you post questions in written, because orally there will be too much noise. So if you have questions, just write them during the webinar or after, and then we will answer them in the end. Then you have this red arrow button, where you can minimize your panel to see the full screen. You can also have the full screen by pressing the blue button. Then you can raise your hand if you have an issue, or if you want to get the attention. If there's anything going on, you can raise your hand. And just per standard, all microphones are muted during the webinar to avoid too much noise. The session will be recorded, and you can find it on the SEA-ABT website afterwards. You will also get a link in the email that you receive afterwards. So to give you an introduction to the project, the SEA-ABT project is an Erasmus Plus capacity building project funded by the European Commission. It's coordinated by my university, University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna, by Dr. Gerhard Schleining. He's also the Secretary General of the Seki Food Association. In Thailand, the project is coordinated by Dr. Sasitorn from Kasetsart University. As I said, it's an Erasmus Plus capacity building project for higher education. It lasts 3 years. It started in October 2015 and ends now this year. It has a budget of 1 million euros, and it consists of 9 partners. The main aim of the project is to support Thai universities in establishing an education concept in the beverage sector and to improve training equipment. Another objective is to support Thai companies and stakeholders in the beverage sector to find qualified personnel and to establish an organizational infrastructure for knowledge transfer and collaboration in the so-called SEA-ABT Academy. As I said, there are 9 partners. In Thailand, there are 3 universities: Kasetsart University, King Mongkut Institute of Technology, and Chulalongkorn University, and Patkol, which is a food equipment supplier. In Europe, we also have 3 universities: the University of Geisenheim in Germany, the University of Teramo in Italy, and Boco in Austria. Then we have other partners in Europe. We have Hapla Chemie, we have the Seki Food Association, EHEDGE, which is the European Hygienic Equipment Design Group, and the USEN, which is the EU University Continuing Education Network. The main outcomes of the project consists of so-called 2 pillars. On the one side, the higher education pillar, where the main output is a 1-year graduate diploma in beverage technology at Kasetsart University and supported by teaching capacities of Chulalongkorn and King Mongkut University. Another outcome is the tuning of existing food study programs And a final outcome is the establishment of a double degree, which is on a negotiation by Chulalongkorn, between Chulalongkorn and University of Teramo. The other pillar is the CPD training, which where the purpose is to establish for professionals in the beverage sector training activities. And for that purpose, we're establishing an academy in the EU and in Southeast Asia. Here, the purpose is to develop certified demand-driven training activities, but also to offer services for business development, to offer the possibility to find experts, partners, facilities, equipment facilities on an international level. So when the project began in October 2015, the main objective was to select and specify the needs of the Thai beverage sector, which was done in several surveys. And based on that, we specified HE modules to be part of this graduate diploma, and also to specify the topics of the CPD trainings for professionals. So in last spring, the main part of the HE teachers from the Thai universities came to Europe, to the 3 universities in Europe, and got training. And based on that, they are now developing and have developed to a great extent also the HE modules, and currently there have been several CPD trainings organized. Some are also running, and I can, for instance, the next one is on fruit juice and fruit-based beverages, which will be held at Kasetsart University from the 24th to the 25th of April by one of the HE teachers from University of Geisenheim. You can also find more information about that under events on the website. As I said, another part of the outcome is the training equipment, which was bought for training purposes. And this is these pictures show a CIP cleaning facility, which is installed at King Mongkut Institute of Technology, which is also available for the other partner universities in Thailand. The training academy, the joint EU Southeast Asia Beverage Academy, is currently under construction, and it consists of 2 parts. The EU part, which will be established at Boku using the infrastructure of the Seki Food Association, and on the other side, the Southeast Asia Academy at the Kasetsart University using the infrastructure of the Kasetsart University Extension Service. It's also possible to become member of this academy. It's possible for other universities that are not currently partners, but also for companies. Could be food producers, equipment suppliers, training providers, professional associations, government, or also non-governmental associations. What we expect from members is that they can help us identify the needs of the Thai beverage sector, that they can accept diploma thesis work, that they could accept internships, give lectures at universities for training purposes. And the benefits would be tailor-made, high-quality certified trainings, to get support in business development, to get access to an international network of experts, and get access to equipment and new technologies. So this was a short introduction to the project. This is a picture of many of the partners that you in the project from the kickoff meeting. So now I will give the word to Chalida, so she can introduce to you the beverage for us composition.
Okay, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we see your presentation.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So, okay, hello everyone. Welcome back again. So this is the second time that we meet from the first time that we have an introductions of beverage for us international students competitions. in February. So this is the second meeting. I just would like to take maybe 5 minutes to remind you again about the beverage for us, the instructions and competitions, and some details about your skill improvement that you. Today is also the first session of the first skill improvements on the product developments that will be given to you by Professor Paula Pittia from University of Dermo. Well, as you are aware that this is an international students competitions that we try to have you as a teams of 3 to 4 students. You could be from same university or different university to join us. Well, this the topic for the competitions for this year is about healthy beverage from waste utilizations of food and add on the product developments or as the ingredients in the beverage developments. The objective is we would like to try to improve your practical knowledge and abilities in solving food industry related problems. We would like to develop your communication skill, the team workings and management skills, as long as also as well as promote the interaction between the students from various universities. And we are lucky this time that we have students from Indonesia and Thailand join us this year. Hopefully, we can expand more countries in Southeast Asia next year. Okay, so because this is the first time the scientific committee is chaired by Professor Paula, you will meet her after this, and most of them are from Thailand and from Europe, and also we have a guest from the industry, and also people from FOSTAT, which is Food Science and Technologies Associations of Thailand. So the activities here, you apply on the voluntary basis, so we have no registration fee, and preferably we have a student from bachelor or master degree join us, and you could have tutors or advisor of your teams, could be postdoc or teacher or researcher, but he or she cannot lead the teamwork as we have agreed before in the first meeting. So during this month, April and May will be the skill development, and at the last week of May, you have to send the assignment to us. Well, the assignments includes the reports of 4 pages and also the PowerPoint presentations of not more than 20 slides for the committee to see and judge on your work. Then on the 8th of June, you will be present your work to all the committees. So you have time now, practically maybe around 1 month and a half to prepare your reports. I think the secretary have sent you the format of the report to all the teams. Hopefully everyone got it. If your team haven't got the format of reports, please email back to us at beverage technology Thailand, beveragetechnology.thailand@gmail.com. So we'll send you another format. But anyway, in my presentation here is the brief descriptions of the report. They're supposed to be so about 4 pages, not more than that. So you will have the abstract of your works about 150 words. Give us some keywords on your work, and then some of your objectives, maximum about 200 words. But the main part is what is your strategy of the project implementation and development. Here, give us some details on organization of your teams, your timeline of development, what is your task activities to identify or develop some specific topic or problems that you have chosen, the approach to tackle the project objectives. Then you summarize about maximum about 2 pages in single line. Well, we prefer you using the Time New Roman. That's describe about the project in all aspects. What is your innovations? What is the potential applications that could be benefits to the beverage industries or well, beverage sectors or business in that area. And if you have any things on the IP issues that should be taken in account, well, that's the procedure is actually described on the web page. And if well, about the NDA form that you have to sign and others related issue on IP, so you can well consult on the web page of the CABT's / beverage for us. For the skill improvement, well, today is the first times or the first workshop for the well, new product developments. Actually, Professor Paula has well, slightly modified the topics. I think she would like to give a talk on designs and developments of innovative beverage. So, well, for today, and then we will have another one. I think is quite interesting for you all as the young graduates in the future. So that will be on the 25th of April. Please make your time available on 1:30 to 2:30 Bangkok times. That one will be about design thinking for beverage entrepreneurs. It will be given by Dr. Promet Chum Yim. He is well, the policy maker from Science, Technologies and Innovation Policy Agencies of Thailand. He is a person who have a lot of experience on well, create or coaching young well, scientists or young graduates to be an entrepreneurs. So looking forward for that one as well. Please make that in your calendar to join us for these webinars. The rest of the workshops for the skill improvements will be based on fruit juice and fruit-based beverage workshop. So this workshop actually will be conducted in Thailand on the 24th to 25th of April. Then we will record all the talk or the session of the speakers. Our speaker including Professor Frank Wills from Germany, and also the lady from Bentex well, beverage companies that will give you the presentations or the knowledge on the topic of from the healthy beverage from waste utilizations and innovative ingredients that will be used in beverage. So all the video or the clip recording will be uploaded on our website. So please well, see this website, SEA-ABT / beverage for us. So that will be uploaded on the 30th of April. So if you have time, so please go to see the videos for your skill improvements that you would like to use in your project. Okay, so let me remind you again about the deadline. Well, during this time, it's your time for skill improvements that we provide various workshops and webinars. And 25th of May, please submit your project presentations and reports. Okay, report maximum of 4 pages, and PowerPoint presentations of 20 slides. Then we meet together again on the 8th of June for the final presentations, and then on that day we will announce who will be the winners, the first, the seconds, and the thirds who get the prize from this beverage for us on the international student competitions. Okay, good luck and thank you everyone to join us today. So if you have any questions that you would like us to clarify, please email to beveragetechnology.thailand@gmail.com. So I think now it's time that I will give a floor to Professor Paula to give you our first webinar on designs and developments of innovative beverage. Okay.
So, Paola, can you share your screen? Yeah. We cannot hear you, Paola. You have to turn on your...
Sorry. Can you see everything?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for all the participants and attendees of this webinar. It's my pleasure today to speak about an interesting formulation, but more than this is innovation aspect in food product development, which is focused on beverages. Actually, when we speak about beverages, we think to a main component, which is water, and also to liquid materials. And water for us, for humans, is absolutely an essential component that allows us to fulfill the essential metabolic activities. We lose water every day, and we need to integrate water every day. And so, thanks to this, we can live with in a good health and well-being. Can we have a definition of for beverages? Actually, it's rather difficult. Anyway, somehow we can say there is a very broad definition that says that the beverage is any liquid that can quench the thirst. And actually, this is the main aim. Like a food is related to its ability to satisfy the nutritional needs. On the other side, we can include among them beverages that are rather traditional, like tea, coffee, milk from nature, from extraction, from processing. But we can also include liquids and products that are characterized by a specific composition, like the presence of alcohol. So we can classify actually beverages, alcoholic beverages, and in other cases, we speak about soft drinks, especially when we think about carbonated products. Which is the current consumption? Actually, you can of beverages. Actually, we can say that it depends. The type and the consumption depends most on the culture and the tradition, the diet tradition we have. You can see here in this picture taken from a survey, we related to three main products. One is the sugar sweetened, the second is fruit juice and milk. Obviously, there are countries where milk is not at all an important everyday product, and others like China, and others where it is obviously a of main importance. As regards a general classification criteria, here I tried to use some of the key factors. We can speak about chemical complexity, composition, processing, the temperature of serving, stability, and from this point of view, we can find for sure products produced now that can be included in this in each of these categories with the sub criteria, and all of them for sure are important for humans. Innovation in the beverages, well, let's say we are used to have really conventional products, starting from water. We have some percolated infused beverages like coffee and tea. We have the natural one, which is the milk, the ones that we obtain by squeezing some raw material like the fruit juice, but more and more also additional products, and then the so-called soft drinks, which are formulated ones. But actually, more and more, we have new beverages. And you can see in this right-hand side part of the table, I added the new or innovative type of the corresponding old ones. As for instance, in the case of water, more and more we have waters that are flavored. I was in US 10 days ago, and actually the flavored waters results more cheap than the conventional mineral water. And they are really part of an important part of the selling of the supermarkets. As regards the infused and percolated products, we have, besides coffee and tea, we have an increased availability of herbal infusions. And in the case of coffee, now the new trends are the monovarietal coffee products. Milk was an important starting point, an important base for, obviously, the formulation of innovative products. Now we speak about a series of products and drinks made of milk, and the same is regarding the juices. Instead of using just watery fruits, now we obtain juices from a large number of seeds, for instance, but also from vegetables. We have different consistency in terms of the juice. We speak about smoothies as the products obtained somehow from pressing the fruits, but also grinding the fruit and obtaining something which is something like a drinkable fruit. And then, last but not least, the fortified drinks that are with changed and formulated compositions. What we can see from here is that there is an increased importance, as in from the innovative side, of the healthy and sensory properties, in order to increase the acceptability of the products to the consumers. And in the products in which there is no compounds able to exert healthy properties, for sure they are added in order to really meet these new trends. We have 4 main areas of beverage innovation. The first is for sure innovation, formulation. And so we increase the presence of desired ingredients, or in other cases, we try to remove or to exclude the undesired ones. We will see later on which are the trends. Here just a picture of an important soft drink that now produces a product which is really more green in respect to the conventional ones. The second area of market trend leading innovation is the function. So we now, thanks to the drinks, we try to develop formulated products able to exert a specific function, or human or metabolic function, or even to target them to specific categories of consumers. Age is one aspect, but also we have drinks made for specific categories of consumers, especially those, for instance, that cannot, for several illnesses, cannot swallow in a conventional way. The third area is experience and convenience. This is a really smart area where we combine the expertise of the food formulators with the packaging at first, but not only. Just to mention also the use of the increase the market availability of self-cold or warm beverages that can thus be drunk in the best temperature for consumption. The fourth area, last but not least, taste and sensory properties. So this means that we give a specific emphasis to specific sensory properties and attributes like flavor at first, taste, but not only this, because more and more the importance is given also to viscosity and body, which is the consistency and the rheology of the beverage. If we look to some trends and some surveys carried out by the marketing area, in this picture that I find really interesting, the mega trends, the market trends are divided by category of consumers. In pink, the generation millennials, in green, the generation X, which is the previous one, the baby boomers, and then the swing generation. And you can see that more and more there is an interest, especially of the younger generation, like most of the attendees of this webinar, I suppose, to have the less number of ingredients per product, and as they are worried about healthy aspects of the ingredients and the components, and the millennials are also interested and available to pay more for having good, healthy drinks. In this respect, the functional beverage market trend is increasing. This is the picture of another marketing survey made by Data Monitor, and you can see that all over the world there is an increased number of market value for the different areas, especially in particular for Europe. Here another slide from the same company related to the 45 beverages, which are a part of the functional beverage market trends. And you can see that one of the most important areas in this sector is the Asia Pacific, but also the North America. In the other countries is less, but increasingly important. Areas of innovation. Can we work on innovation in beverages? Yes. And here are briefly summarized 3 of the main areas out of the 4th I mentioned before: the processing, the formulation, and the convenience. In the next slide, I will give an overview about each of these sectors. Processing. For sure, the most important aspect is the use of innovative technologies. The aim is to reduce the impact of the technologies on the quality attributes and healthy attributes of the foods, but in this case of beverages. And among the ones which are increasingly applied, especially in the area of the drinks, we have the hydrostatic pressure, the high dynamic pressure, and the radio frequency and pulsed electric fields. As regards the hydrostatic pressure. Here I just show you some results of a case study of a research carried out by some colleagues. And actually, by high hydrostatic pressure, it's possible to obtain safe and high quality and healthy properties products, but more than this is that we can obtain products with a desired and optimal shelf life. In this picture here is reported the decrease of the total aerobic microflora of orange and the peach fruit. Here is the orange and here the peach at increasing time of high pressure application. And actually you can see that some of the most important pathogens that can be found in various fruit juice can be somehow reduced by high pressure treatments at 600 megapascal in 2 min, which is a rather mild process applied. At the same time, by high hydrostatic pressure, we can obtain really good sensory evaluation by the panelists, and you can see that in respect to the fresh, the high pressure is absolutely overlapping in terms of sensory profile. We can also retain the polyphenols in a pomegranate, almost keeping the same values of the fresh initial fruit. So somehow this processing, this innovative processing technology can be an area of innovation for the future. The second process that seems to be promising in this area is also the high dynamic pressure treatment. Actually, this technology is used for emulsification or homogenization, and used in this way to disperse lipid pollen compounds in liquid water phases. On the same time, the very high stress and shear stress and turbulences caused by this process is causing the destruction, the kill of microorganisms, and from this point of view we can have the decrease, the reduction of the microbial counts of the products which are treated with this technology. In this slide here, this table, which is taken from an interesting review carried out by some colleagues of the University of Bologna, which are food microbiologists, is summarized the high pressure homogenization, microbial inactivation in relation to various matrices for species, for various species and process conditions. And actually you can see that we can obtain interesting reduction counts of some pathogens that make thus this system of main interest for innovative processing and formulated beverages. The same is in this table here, but in this table is what is important to highlight is that if the high dynamic pressure can be interesting to destroy vegetative pathogenic microorganism, has no effect on spores. So this means that some bacillus, they are not affected by this treatment, and this means that they will survive to the pressure, to the this kind of processing, and this means that the product, the beverage after this product, after this processing, need to be kept under a refrigerated condition and with a limited shelf life. Pulsed electric field is another interesting processing, and can find actually interesting, as it is set, is mainly used to increase the permeability of the cell walls of the materials, and increase the extraction yield of, especially in the case of fruit and vegetables. However, it can also have an excellent interesting stabilization effect by killing some microorganisms that are particularly liable to this processing. Main critical point of this technology is that if there is effect on the microbial quality and stability from the microbial point of view, on the other side, this technology seems, all these technologies, in particular the high pressure, but also the pulsed electric field, seems to have only a limited effect on another important degradative reaction that may occur especially in fruit juices, which are the enzymatic activity. And this is taken this picture from a paper or from a research carried out by some colleagues, and actually you can see that was the picture of the untreated at the time 0, the pasteurized by heat treatment very mildly. Here we have the high pressurized, and here are the fruit juice processed by pulsed electric field. Actually, you can see that in all cases there is precipitation of the insoluble pectins present in the orange juice, but on the other side you can see that this seems to be more quick, especially in the case actually there is no effect in this phase separation in respect to the high pressure and the pulsed electric fields. So somehow there is a need to optimize the process. In the case of the high hydrostatic pressure, actually there are interesting processing and combination that seems to be promising to apply the high pressure treatments also to stabilize fruit juice from the enzymatic point of view. Like in this case, some researchers carried out this study related to apply pulsed high hydrostatic pressure with interesting results. And in this case, there is also other effects when you combine the high pressure with some high temperatures during the high pressure treatment, instead of carrying out this high pressure treatment at room temperature. In this way, actually, it is possible to inactivate, for instance, in kiwi fruit, the actinidin, which is the enzyme that causes phase separation of fibers and the pectins separation, and the amylase in the case of the apple juice. Packaging innovation, yes, this is a very nice and interesting area of innovation. And in this respect, beverages are an interesting field of application. The aim in this respect is to, for sure, to increase the convenience, the easy to be used, or the use of new materials, more sustainable, more environmental friendly, and to increase also the sustainability of the beverage processes. This is an example of an Italian mineral water. In Italy, we use a lot, we consume a lot mineral water from natural sources. This is a bottle made of biodegradable bioplastic, is PLA in this case. Nice green color of the plastic determines somehow something which is seems to be really more healthy, or at least more environmentally friendly. Other examples, this is a glass closure for glass whiskey bottles. The use of a mix of components in a package is more and more debated because of the need of separate the waste. So if you find, like in this case, a cup of the same material, this allows and make easy the waste management. This is a can with an integrated straw, just to avoid to leave it aside or lose it during the consumption of the beverage. Here another example of a flexible multi-layer stand-up pouch. In this case, you have an intermediate seal, so you have two compartments that you can break and mix the beverage at the time you need. This is another cup, interesting, which is made from seeds. And you can do this type of cup with many seeds. So actually this is a nice opportunity to use also raw materials from the nature. And the last example I would like to bring to you today is this new edible coffee cup called the Scott E. This is a patented cup. It's really interesting. You know that coffee is very well known and worldwide drunk beverage, and this will also be interesting opportunity to sell something that at the end you can also eat. So it's something like a snack, and can be used also for a break. Last but not least, formulation. Here, let's say a summary of the new ingredients that more and more are used to formulate innovative beverages. And actually, if in the past the formulation was rather plain, with the main component only used for the formulation, this means proteins, we have some carbohydrates used for viscosity or stabilization, low carbohydrates for sweetness, some lipids, very few, just for coloring in special, or aromas, pigments, no, or pigment, yes, but mainly artificial and so on. And the same is acids. Actually, more and more now, we are speaking on a more complex formulated products, like here, and components like here listed in this table, where we are speaking about antioxidant, pre or prebiotic, mineral, vitamins, amino acids, nutraceuticals, and last but not least, also some compounds that can have also some psycho or mental effect in our body. Here you can see the specific technological functionality, some examples, and also some side functionalities that seems to be also important when you formulate your beverage. In this table here, taken from the web, from a company, you can see some of the products that are sold, and also the type of forms. This is absolutely important when you are thinking about the stability of these products, but also its use in food, in a food processing, and also the corresponding typical applications. This is just an example of a mix of functional ingredients for developing some innovative beverages for specific target consumers, like here the healthy aging. So you can see here how important are vitamins, resveratrol, coenzyme Q10, which is a rather important health component. And so you can see here, this is an energy stick pack with a series of various components, included in this case taurine and caffeine for the energetic effect in a human body. Innovative formulation means also flavors, for sure, and in respect to the past where we were used, you can see here two very conventional flavors, and the typical are orange, lemon, and apple at first. Now you can see here on the right hand side how important are increasing some flavors from new fruit that we can have, but also here in the last, in the bottom of this list, cinnamon, which are, this means spices and herbs. Innovation in formulation means also change the sweeteners. Sweetened beverages are the ones which are at most preferred by the consumers. So also coffee, for instance, is drunk in the majority of the cases added with sugars. And in some beverages, sugars and sweeteners are naturally present. Now we have the various trends, and actually we have beverages where, besides the one in which is naturally present, we have the no sugars added, in which we think and we refer mostly to the absence or the no addition of sucrose and fructose. We speak about sweetened beverages like the ones which are produced and formulated with alternative or intensive sweeteners, and the ones which are now sweetened with the natural and plant extract. And in this case, we are referring more as ingredients in this respect. The most important ones are for sure the ones obtained from stevia, for example, but also honey or the agave syrups. In both cases, both in the case of sweeteners and in natural plant extract, some of them are really intensive. There is a need to reformulate the formulation, the beverage formulation, because of, from one side, there is a sensory perception given and brought by each sweetener, and on the other side, there is the need of reformulating in terms of the relative weight ratio, especially in the case of the intensive one. Another class of main ingredients, especially in formulated beverages, are colors. Besides the old style, artificial or synthetic ones with which use is in general regulated by law, now we have new colors, both the naturally present that can also be added, and also the coloring foodstuff, which are an interested, at least in Europe, category of coloring agents, which are obtained by extraction of natural sources, and they need to be produced according to specific process, and can be concentrated up to a certain limit, because it's important to keep the natural and the original ratio of all the components of this food, and especially vegetable and fruit extracts. If you like, you can watch this video here. I mentioned this. You can take this link and have a look to all the practical guidelines about this, the use of this natural extract for coloring purposes. The main issue of these extracts is that they are natural, and as the majority of the natural compounds, they degrade very easily. This is just an example of the spirulina extract that contains phycosanine, which is a blue-colored protein, and this blue-colored protein bleaches upon heat treatment or aggregate. You can see here in the case of heat treatments combined with to keep the process conditions, to keep the system stable enough for the final quality of the product. Last part of the presentation, just a few comments about the possibility also to innovate traditional and conventional products. There is also a trend in this respect, and this I've made just an example. Fruit juices, we have a conventional fruit juices of apple or peach or orange, but now there is an increased attention given to, for instance, a new cultivar of products of apples, for instance, because of the higher content of specific healthy compounds, bioactive compounds, or the use of alternative process method to preserve the bioactive compounds, the blending of apple juice, for instance, with other juices to obtain interesting new formulation, or even new present conditions that can be of main importance. Some hints for you that are developing the projects on beverage, innovative beverages, just to take home and to think about it. When we change the process and the formulation of a beverage, we have always to optimize all the steps which are affecting, first of all, the stability which is microbial, but also enzymatic, physical, and chemical. Don't forget that when we add a lipid or a polar compound, this is easily degraded by oxygen, but also by the light, for instance. We have, for this reason, optimize the formulation by the proper selection of the ingredients and the additives, and develop the right recipe and formulation in order to obtain the target quality attributes. When we take into account changes in the processing, don't forget to take into account the parameters that affect the desired final beverage, and also the formulation. In particular, the pH, the presence of ingredients that can degrade according to specific processing parameters, and also don't forget what is the shelf life you expect to obtain, especially when we are referring to the microbial and enzymatic ones. So this was my last slide, and for this I would like to thank you for your attention. And here I am now available for any question you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paola. Maybe I could just add that you can find the presentation also from Paola and the recording, which we will send in an email afterwards. So I will just see if we have any questions. You're very welcome to ask any questions now, either in the text box, or you can also raise your hand. I can open your microphone and you can ask the question in oral. There are no questions at this point.
Okay, but just as a final comment, if they have any question for the future also, maybe before the submission of the final project, I'm available. So anyway, I'll be pleased to receive also the request from the student teams.
Okay. Do you have any questions or anything to add, Chalita?
Just what would like to remind that we have another appointment with the webinar on 25th of April, 1:30 to 2:30 on Bangkok time. So please join this webinar. We will distribute the link via the emails to everyone again to join the second webinar.
Yes. Okay, good. Then I think if there nothing else, any questions or anything, then I think we will stop for now and say thank you for joining, everyone, and hope to see you at the next skill development webinar then. Okay. Good then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.